Hurricanes and Hoosiers. How are you guys holding up? Take it from someone who knows from experience, this is going to be one of the most exciting weeks of your lives. Make sure to take a little bit of time and really enjoy it and appreciate every moment of it. That can be hard to do with the stress that is looming, but the time this week will go by fast. We've got a great show for you guys today. I do hope you enjoy it. So as you guys prepare for this upcoming national championship game, I can't help but think about how different you guys are. How different the two fan bases are. This is a game with incredibly unique fan bases. I keep thinking that we are witnessing one of the most culturally fascinating title games in modern history. And a game that I think might go down as one of the best ever. A game that will probably stand the true test of time. But time in college football is funny. For you Miami fans, time stopped 24 years ago. Since 2001, the U has been a ghost story. It's a brand, honestly, that has been living on memories with a fan base who was desperate to prove that they still mattered. And for you Indiana fans, you guys are measured on a different timeline. Because in truth, time never started for you. Sure, you've been around for 139 years, but you've never worn the crown. So make no mistake, this national title game is going to be one for the ages. All this lost time that we talk about won't matter anymore. And when those final seconds tick away and that clock hits zeros, one of you will etch your name as an all-time great, while the other will be left wondering when your time will come again. But to understand why that clock hitting zero is going to feel so heavy, we have to look at the specific type of desperation fueling each crowd. You might think desperation feels the same for everyone, but it doesn't. For Miami fans, this desperation is heavy and loud and aggressive. It's a desperation born from having worn the crown before and being so very desperate to put it back on. Think about the last 2 decades of your lives as Hurricane fans. Every single September, we hear the same words screamed from the rooftops. The U is back. We hear it when you start 3-0. We hear it when you sign a new coach. We hear it when you unveil a new uniform. But then October comes, and then November comes, and that 3-0 start fades away. That new coach turns out to be just another guy who doesn't understand the culture. For 24 years, you have been declaring your return to the throne. And for 24 years, the rest of the college football world has laughed as you failed. This creates a very specific type of pain. You aren't just desperate to win a trophy. You're desperate to prove them all wrong. You are fighting to prove that the Miami identity isn't just an old relic from the 80s and 90s. You need to show the world that the U can actually work in the modern era. You need to erase the memory of leaving the Orange Bowl and becoming a middling team in the Atlantic Coast Conference. A win here validates every argument you've had for the last 20 years. It proves that the swagger wasn't fake. But while Miami is screaming for attention, Indiana fans are doing something very different. Indiana's desperation is quiet, nervous, and existential. No matter what happens, in some ways you feel like you've already won. Even sitting here at 15-0, looking at the national championship logo on the field, some Indiana fans are waiting for the other shoe to drop. There is a deep-seated fear in Bloomington that you are about to wake up from a dream. You aren't trying to reclaim glory because you've never had it. You are trying to prove that you belong in this sport at all. You are trying to prove that you aren't just a basketball school. For a century, the rest of the Big Ten used you as a practice scrimmage. You were the easy week on the schedule for Ohio State and Michigan, where they could just pencil in a win. So this game isn't about adding to a trophy case for you. It's about building the trophy case from scratch. You are trying to exorcise the ghost of being irrelevant. But here's the fascinating thing about these two different types of desperation. They have created a mirror effect. Both fan bases need to understand that. Despite your differences, you are fighting the exact same enemy. You are both fighting the label of fraud. The national media has called Miami frauds for years. They say that you have the flash but no substance. They point to the turnover chain and the swagger, and they say it's all just an act to cover up bad coaching. They hate you because they think you're arrogant without the wins to back it up. On the flip side, the national media calls Indiana frauds because of their history. They look at your logo and say, it's just Indiana. They'll eventually collapse. They dismiss you because they think your success is a fluke and will not be sustainable. But both fan bases feel like the entire world is rolling their eyes at them. Miami is hated. Indiana is dismissed. You share a common brotherhood, and fate has tied you both together. But in this game, one of you forces the world to take you seriously. Now, to understand the weight of that force, we have to look at the numbers. For Miami, we need to confront the ghost of 2001. We talk about the drought, but I want to put it in perspective. It's been 24 years since Miami won a national title. That was the 2001 Super Team, arguably the greatest collection of talent ever assembled. But the real pain isn't just the title drought. It's the fact that you haven't even been close. It's been 23 years since you even played for one. That was the 2003 Fiesta Bowl loss to Ohio State. The game is a scar on the soul of every Miami fan. The pass interference call, the Willis McGahee injury. The night didn't just end a season, it ended a dynasty. Since that night, an entire generation of recruits has been born. Those kids were recruited. They played their college careers. They got drafted, and many have retired from the NFL. All of that happened since Miami was last truly the kings of college football. Since joining the ACC in 2004, Miami has 0 conference titles. You watched Florida State and Clemson build dynasties in your backyard. You watched them lift trophies while you churned through coaches. Coker, Shannon, Golden, Richt, Diaz. Each one was supposed to be the savior, but each one ended in a different type of frustration. That's a lot of baggage to carry into one game. But if Miami is carrying baggage, Indiana is carrying a graveyard. I mentioned earlier that Indiana has never won a title, but that statement doesn't do justice to just how bad it's been. We need to look at the 139-year stat with a magnifying glass. Indiana has the second most losses in FBS history. We're talking about over 700 of them. Historically, you are the losingest power conference program to ever exist. Let's look at the gap in your trophy case. The last time Indiana won an outright Big Ten title was 1945. That was 80 years ago. World War II ended the same year that Indiana last stood alone atop the conference. The last time you even shared a Big Ten title was 1967. That was the year before the moon landing. Think about that. We put a man on the moon before Indiana put another banner in their stadium. That level of futility usually breaks a fan base. It usually makes you accept that you will never be great. But this 2025 Indiana team just didn't get that memo. And this is where the narrative shifts. Usually a team with this history is a Cinderella story. They scrape by with last-second wins or lucky field goals. They win a close game against a better team. They're happy just to be invited to the dance. But Indiana isn't Cinderella. Indiana's 15-0, and you haven't just been winning. You've been blowing teams out. Look back no further than the 56-22 win over Oregon. You took one of the best teams in the country and you dismantled them. You aren't lucky. You're terrifying. You are creating a cognitive dissonance for everyone watching. We see the Indiana logo, but we also see Alabama-level dominance. However, dominance on the field is one thing. Dominating the environment is a completely different thing. Miami is the first team in the modern era to play a national championship game in their actual home stadium. This isn't a neutral site game in New Orleans or Pasadena. This is Hard Rock. This is a place where Miami fans have suffered since the old Orange Bowl. It's their house. They know the wind. They know the turf. They get to sleep in their own beds. It's a massive, unprecedented advantage. The noise will be deafening, But there will be a twist in this script that you couldn't write in Hollywood. While Miami has the home field, Indiana has the home kid. We have to talk about Indiana's quarterback, Fernando Mendoza. This isn't just a quarterback from a random town. Fernando Mendoza is a Miami native. He went to Columbus High School, right there in the city. He grew up in the shadow of the U. He watched those same disappointments that Miami fans suffered through. And here's the kicker. You have the Miami Hurricanes playing at home, trying to save their dynasty. And standing across from them is a Miami kid leading a team from Indiana that has never won anything. It's the ultimate conflict. One side fighting for history, the other side's fighting for respect. One side has the weight of 5 national titles. The other side has the weight of 0. When you look at the graphics on the screen, the contrast is startling. Miami has 5 national championships, the last in 2001. Indiana has 0 national championships since they were founded in 1887. Miami is trying to break a 24-year drought. Indiana is trying to break an infinite drought. The question isn't just about who has the better offense or defense. The question is about which hunger is stronger. Is it the hunger of the king trying to reclaim his throne, or the hunger of the peasant who is tired of bowing down? We're about to find out. I leave you with this closing thought from a rival FSU fan who has been waiting 12 years for their time to come again. Regardless of whose time it is, and regardless of how the game plays out, neither of you guys will ever forget this season. And while you can't both win, compared to everyone else in college football, you already have. So hold your heads up high and take the time to really enjoy the hell out of this week and appreciate this moment. You are both playing with house money in 5 days, and your time is now. We appreciate you guys for tuning in. We appreciate Sleeper for all of their support. Remember our code CFA over on the Sleeper app. We'll talk to you guys soon here on College Football Addiction.